Ladies and gentlemen, oh shoot. Skype just crashed. Crap. Trying to get the call back here. Okay, there we are. We got your still image. Can you turn on your video camera, Jeremy?
Yeah. I just, do you mind calling one more time?
Sure, no problem. Hey, Amelia. Loading. There we go. Awesome.
There we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me a special guest. His name is Jeremy LeBlanc. He's from Alberta, Canada. Jeremy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind?
Well, I grew up in Ontario, and I had moved out to Alberta mainly for work and schooling, and mainly the living out here is a whole lot better than Ontario. But I mainly specialize in a lot of things. They're quite controversial, and I don't tend to have the chance to talk about them a lot with a lot of people. So this is a very good experience for me, and I think it's beneficial to me and other people. So I really do appreciate the chance to be able to speak. So thank you.
So, Jeremy, you just kind of stumbled upon me like yesterday, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, just yesterday. I was actually doing my research into the things that I like to look into, and a lot of the beliefs that I have and whatnot. And then I just stumbled upon a video that kind of spiked my interest there. And this is one of the recent phone calls I believe you had with Richard.
Richard Cohen of NASA, right?
Richard Cohen of NASA there, and I first started watching it, and the name, the person that you were speaking with, spiked my interest quite a bit, because I've looked into his research and I've looked into what he does a little bit, not much. But so I watched the video, and basically it just rearranged my thinking a little bit, and put a lot of perspectives that I have, and put them parallel with a lot of the facts and things that I know, and basically made a whole lot more sense to things, and it just blew my mind. I couldn't, I spent, I'd say 5 or 10 minutes just staring at my significant other in amazement that somebody had been able to at least draw a parallel that was a whole lot more sound than the ones I've heard from many different people. So including myself. So
yeah, I mean, we had a quite an interesting conversation there. We talked about a few things. We talked about the concave Earth. We talked about ether. We talked about anti-gravity. Is there any one of those you want to talk about first initially? I mean,
is there any? I mean, where are people's interests, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, in this room, I think predominantly we talk about the concave Earth. We talk about the glass sky. We talk about how the Earth is not rotating. How the sun. Go ahead.
Well, basically, I want to reiterate what you had touched base on in one of your videos there, many times for that matter, is that lightning can't be present without a catalyst. And that is entirely correct, based on all the knowledge I've gathered from Nikola Tesla and wireless transmission of electricity and the ether force, and just many have tried to replicate it but can't. They can come close but can't replicate it. And just for that matter, that is one of the main reasons why I do believe there is a glass sky, is there is no, without a catalyst such as the crystalline structure that glass is, there's not enough electrostatic potential that wouldn't just drift off into space or therefore be gone. There would be no potential on the Earth. There'd be no lightning. For that matter, there'd be no atmosphere. There'd be no clouds. There'd be no life on the Earth.
The Earth. I kind of chuckled because I graciously corrected you about saying on this planet. So.
Well, as you can see, I'm doing my best to stay on the right track, because we're not going to have a conversation here, and I'm not going to use the proper terminology. That's not too it's not too appealing. So yeah.
Well, that's really, I mean, yeah, that definitely corroborates and backs what I was talking about with the lightning being present and Eric Dollard's research into lightning and
Well, it comes down like Eric would say in his notes. If people only knew what's under their own noses, and it's funny because a lot of the inventions or experiments or research that he's done and things that he's developed immediately before people even have the chance to understand them. And I don't know who some of these people are, but they're immediately disregarding his research into potentials, catalysts,
right.
electric, things to do with electromagnetism, things of that nature. People don't even understand what he's talking about, but they'll disregard what he has to say. And I find that very, very peculiar.
Sure.
For somebody, what I understand is very broad. It's not. I'm not going to say I'm an expert in anything. I'm going to say my understandings of a lot of things are very broad. And from what I understood with Eric Dollard, that kind of correlates with the things that I know. And this man is by far one of the smartest men on the planet. And nobody wants to give him the light of day, which is quite bothering me.
Yeah, definitely.
So and it's sad because it's people like that put us on a path for discoveries or just basically truth and knowledge, for that matter. That is sound. That is not. There's no gaps. You know what I mean? And it's nice. It's nice to have a conversation, or at least learn, or for that matter, just converge with somebody who has a not a right or a wrong, but a more of a base understanding for a lot of things that people don't give credence to. And these people have facts. They have, they have the history, they have the knowledge, they have facts, they got evidence, they got this and that, but still nobody wants to listen to them. And, for that matter, Eric Dollard is one of the smartest people I've ever encountered. So that's my opinion on Eric Dollard there. But he's got a lot of things people need to hear, and some of the things he touch bases on are not quite parallel with belief of myself and you now, and I don't find it very enlightening when somebody like that is not even recognized for what they can contribute, and basically just disregarded before anybody can make sense of what he's saying. And that doesn't add up for me. If it's just, I find a lot of people that comment on a lot of videos they see, or a lot of research or papers, publications, you name it, they'll immediately, before getting even a paragraph or 5 minutes into a video, they'll start typing up their disbelief in the matter, or their opinion on why it's wrong, or,
right,
or whatever. And for that, it's just, and that's why I'm glad to have met someone like yourself, is because the conversation that you were having with Richard was very informative, but at the same time, it wasn't just you and him talking, it was everybody listening that had at least watched the video that's now that much more smarter, because you take someone in his position, and if he's dumbfounded, and he was for a good, a good amount of the information that was conversed, and I'm telling you, he was dumbfounded.
Yes.
And someone in his standard, with his education, how can you be so dumbfounded? And for
exactly.
That matter, it goes without saying, there's too much that needs to be said, and I can see that the people that are even in the standings that they're in, they're not even willing to speak about, even if they know or they don't know. It's almost like they're permanently ignorant, and I don't know if that. I don't know if that's a prerequisite for being a part of NASA, or a part of the CIA, or a part of the governments in general. I don't know if that's a prerequisite, but I think it is. So
sadly. Well, let's talk a little bit about yourself more. I mean, you are 24 years old, right?
Correct.
And you appear to be quite intelligent. And you earlier in our previous phone conversation, you mentioned to me that you seemed like you had some kind of integrity or a conviction to disseminate the truth that the government conceals. Is that kind of correct? Is that what you're...
Yeah, that's fair to say. Basically, I'll reiterate what I said earlier. I believe that people need to know what you have to say, what I have to say, but with the collection of, the people with certain beliefs into certain subjects that are parallel with each other. And I don't think that any one person is wrong for what they say, or negative, or you name it. It's not fair to believe in a government that offers somewhat of a fake security, because people still think they're so small, because they think there's an infinite universe out there. And
Right.
and that small feeling leads us to be sheeple, and it's just.
But wouldn't you say that it's almost as if it really is the people who have a keen understanding of things, who have the courage to actually boldly state what they feel is not correct? I mean, wouldn't you believe that it's kind of relied upon them, like you and me, people like you and me, to actually go out there and boldly profess this in the face of all the criticism and all the ridicule that we probably will. I mean, I have suffered a lot of ridicule, and
Well, I know myself. I just, just simple things that I believe in. The anti-gravity, the certain frequencies, the Schumann resonance. And I'm trying to explain these things and how they correlate to other things to people. And ridiculed up and down, and people don't even know. But yeah, the people that have the ability to speak out on things that not only believe in, but they have facts, they have evidence. There's a truth to it, whether you want to see it or not. And I think it's not only a good thing.
Do you feel like it's a sense of obligation that you have to fulfill?
I'm glad you touched on that. That's what I was just about to say. It's not that you should or you should. You are obligated to tell the people. If you know better, then you're obligated to help. You're obligated to help people move along in knowing the same. Okay, so if nobody else is going to tell them, then I think it's our job, your job, to inform the people on what they should know, what should be general knowledge, what should be taught on a regular basis.
Okay, let me just get this straight. Okay, you have not seen any of my videos prior to yesterday, and you've watched. I don't know how many videos have you watched of mine, possibly.
I'd say 3 or 4.
Okay, that's fine.
Maybe 5, 6. I'm not too sure. I was after the first video. I was, I think, so excited that just because the parallels you were making really, really helped out with the theories and the facts that I know you know to be true, and it just really helped out. I got so excited, and I think I watched about 5 or 6 videos.
Sure. And so you've already agreed with me that there's a glass sky, that the concave Earth is a reality.
It basically was the last straw. It doesn't matter which theory I believed in. A lot of the facts that I know to be true, based on research from a lot of people, that was the cherry on top. And that completed everything. I got a sense of overwhelming satisfaction as soon as basically I was 5 minutes into your video. Yes, when it was done, finished, I had that overwhelming sense of satisfactory. But I'm here to tell you, it was like the completion to the encyclopedia collection, if you know what I mean. So, it blew my mind, because a lot of the correlations that I make are now reiterated due to the things that you
Go ahead.
say in your video. So it really helped out with a lot of the things that I know to be true. So.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to hand it to you. There's not too many people that have been successful in being able to display the facts, display the evidence, and basically touch base on several eras of research, several different people from different eras, lifetimes, and these are 100 years apart or more, and it's gaps like that, information that's lost in them gaps, that these single-handed people try to keep, but somehow they're ridiculed because everybody else wants to be ignorant. And I'm just, it's nice to see somebody like yourself drawing the correlations that you do.
Correct. Okay. We talked also about anti-gravity. That is like one of your fortes. Can you explain to the audience a little bit about anti-gravity, like you were doing to me earlier?
Well, basically, anti-gravity is it's a push wave. A lot of people think it's a pull, or somehow due to the Earth spinning, it's
a push. It's a push wave. Okay.
It's a push wave. A lot of people think it has to do with the spinning of an object or the mass of an object. It has nothing to do with that. It's a push wave that comes out from. I'm guessing it's generated by the ether. There's no way to tell what that gravity wave is, but it is the gravity wave. And the fact that it is a push in a certain direction, we know that's true because you can opposite that wave. Now, what I mean by that is you cannot replicate that ether frequency or that ether pull or push, for that matter. You can't replicate that. But what you can do is you can oppose it and come very close in opposition to that field that's generated.
And that's what causes the levitation there. Is that correct?
Right. That's exactly what causes the levitation. Now, what you see, for the most part, when you see whether they're government or they're extraterrestrial, whatever, most UFOs, when seen in a video or a photograph, they look like they're bobbing. Okay,
right.
Or if you see them in real life, they look like they're hovering, but they're bobbing. They're not that stable, but they're pretty stable. Now, what that's caused from is the minerals that are in the crust, or sorry, I really don't know how to reference that. The Earth itself, the minerals that are in the Earth itself, are not consistent. They're not the same in any given area.
The density, you're talking about the densities, is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
Correct, yes, perfect. The density of the Earth is not consistent in any given area. So this wave, that's a push wave, is not consistent in any given area, but it is still a push wave. Now, the inconsistency is met by an onboard computer that a lot of these crafts have that are able to take in that wave, whatever the measurement of frequency is opposing, and oppose it with the almost exact same frequency. But it has to happen within a microsecond, or basically that craft will fall out of the sky. Now, when you see the bobbing, nothing's, you can't be infinitely fast, so everything has a limitation that's man-made. So when you have a craft like that and it's trying to oppose a push wave, it can only go so fast. So you get the bobbing. Okay, you get the bobbing effect as it's trying to oppose that wave. Now, when it's generating this wave, that wave is basically it's a push wave against the other push wave. But what's happened is they're concentrating that push wave at a certain point, and that craft is matter. So that matter is always pulled towards infinity, or what is an infinite energy potential.
Will that be the 0 point energy, or?
It's kind of like it's a lot different than the 0 point energy, but it's very similar in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But a lot of people get it mixed up with like a lot of people think that there's a certain element 113 or 115 that generates this anti-gravity or whatever, and there's a lot of theories out there, and some of them may be somewhat right, or they might work for a short amount of time, but anti-gravity itself is very easy to achieve. It's very, 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 very simple. And if you understood, much like John Hutchison, he was very, very, very familiar with amplifiers, marine-grade tuners, stereo systems, magnets, speakers, you name it, and he specialized in frequency. Although he didn't have, we'll say, the proper tools to achieve his goal, he did it in a way that everybody could learn from it. Now, how he did it is he concentrated the pulse wave in 3 dimensions, so top, side, and back. So the 3 dimensions that we live in here, that we know of, you have to concentrate what is here the way it's being displayed. So, and if you don't do that, you're not going to achieve. You might achieve for a slight amount of time, or it doesn't really matter. It's not the proper way. Basically, what you're needing, you're needing to achieve synergy. And
right.
You can synergize with an object. You're able to move any amount of mass anywhere you want.
So I showed you these pictures of this levitating throne that I made in a 3D modeling program.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that can be easily done. Just having this levitating seat that you sit on, or that you stand on. Or...
if you wanted it to, move other places, that would be harder to achieve, and it would take a lot of money.
Yeah.
But to have something stable floating at any height that you desire, doesn't really matter, is relatively very simple. Very, very, very. You can almost do it in your house. It's very simple.
Yeah, I was showing Jeremy a page of my temple plans, because I'm seeing building this temple in Australia after this decimation happens with the sun stopping and the Megacry meteors falling down. Why don't we talk a little bit about the Megacry meteors?
Well, and I'm glad you touched base on that, because that's kind of one of the cherries I got from one of your videos there, is the mega cryo meteors that have been falling all over the planet. Yes, they do have one flat side, and it's ironic. It's ironic that they do, because it's where is this one side going to come from? Where is this completely flat surface? Exactly. Going to come from? There's no cities up there that we know of. The ice doesn't build that much on the satellites that are in rotation up there, and if they do,
supposedly,
supposedly, exactly.
I have a problem with. Satellites in this 2,000 degree thermosphere. They would melt. So I have a problem with satellites being up there. But anyway, let's talk. The megacry meteors. A lot of people think that, they try to explain. They have no idea. The scientists have no idea. I talked with a few people. I dialogued with a few people. There was a guy named David Travis who worked at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. He was a meteorologist. I talked to him on the phone. I told him, this was like way back in 2006 or 7, there's a glass sky and there's a concave Earth, and that's where they're coming from. He laughed in my face. I gave him all the evidence for the glass sky. I showed the tektites, Libyan desert glass, fusion crust on meteorites, ozone, the auroras, the upper atmospheric lightning, and still he had this confirmation bias. He couldn't get over the simplicity of that answer, and then they'll go on to they'll say, well, it's possibly it's formulating in the tropopause between the troposphere and the stratosphere. This supposedly you're going to have these huge 1,000-pound blocks of ice with flat sides, like you said, just bobbing like volleyballs, right? And eventually falling down to the earth.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I find it just difficult. Well, most people find it difficult to just take a 1,000-pound object and make it levitate with anti-gravity or however you want. It's hard to make a 1,000-pound object levitate. So how, like you said, how they're bobbing up around in the atmosphere or wherever, and able to just fall at any random time.
No, yeah. Some people think it's water coming from stars. Like I said before, the thermosphere is 2,000 degrees or up to 2,000 degrees. Yeah, scientists rule that out for the most part. There's really no, there's no good alternate explanation without the glass sky scenario.
Well, years ago they said that there was no water or anything else anywhere else in the universe, or whatever their theories were. There's no life anywhere else. There's no oxygen. There's no this. There's no that. And you know what? I think that anybody that tries to obscure basically the cryometeors, you have to see them. There are plenty of evidence. There's plenty of photos and news coverage, you name it, that they exist. So, when you ask somebody, oh, what about the cryometeors? And they say, well, what's that? Well, it's like, well, you know what? It's like, why even talk to the person?
I know.
It comes down to what is and what isn't, and these are, plain bold facts that are shown on national television, in the radio, the news, you name it, and people are dumbfounded when they hear about them, and it's like, do your basic research to just survive as a human being and pay attention, because it comes down, and then ask the questions. If you have the questions, ask the questions. Don't just disregard it or say, oh yeah, laugh it off or whatever, and go sleep, go to bed at night, go have a hot dog or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ask questions. Try to figure out what the answer is, whether it's good, bad, whether it's right or wrong. At least indulge into the discussion, like those cryometeors. It's funny that they have one flat side. Why is it one flat side? Probably because there's a glass sky.
Correct. I totally agree.
Well,
Sadly, Jeremy, I think it's really going to be up to us people, the people, the minority who don't really, buy into the mainstream. It's our obligation to subject ourselves to scrutiny and ridicule in order to profess the truth. And
that's right. That's right. And you know what? No matter how many times I've been told, oh, that's nuts, or that's crazy, or that's this, and that's that, it makes me that much more in depth with the research that I do, the videos that I watch, the people I talk to, the publications I read, and it makes me more thorough in dissecting things. Okay, so they're not, the ridicule is great and it's expected. The minority of the people that we are in trying to reveal the truth about what is, we should be the most praised upon. We should be, cited as people of great knowledge, whether it's anointed or not.
Sure.
Whether it's funny because the parallels that you're able to draw with such a theory is astounding, and somebody would just disregard that so ignorantly, and it really baffles my mind.
We talked a little bit about the pyramids before.
That's right. That's right. Well, we talk a lot about the pyramids, and I'm here to tell you everybody should be talking about the pyramids, not just myself and you. Now, it comes down to one simple thing. People think that a pyramid was just built by a bunch of people. And, a lot of people don't even think that there's any special anything to do with pyramids. They just think that they're insignificant for whatever reason they believe. They're not important. So I'm here to tell you, I don't know where people get their info from, or if they're maybe sitting in class for too long at school or whatever. I don't know where they're being taught that certain objects, as perfect as they are, and the other significance that they do have, nothing's being shared, and nothing's being told to the people. The pyramid itself generates a 28,000 hertz frequency at the point of at the top point of the pyramid. Now that's just natural. Whether you create a pyramid in your house out of styrofoam or whatever, once the Schumann frequency has harmonized with the pyramid itself, it basically amplifies the frequency. So at the point of the top stone or the top of a pyramid basically oscillates at whatever wave it does, but it oscillates at 28,000 hertz. Now that's a phenomenon. I really don't know why it does that. I don't know. I don't know if maybe I passed over information. Maybe I just haven't read it. But I'm here to tell you, if you look at in a certain hue or contrast, you'll see a double helix at the tip of every perfect pyramid. It doesn't matter which you build.
Yes, that's correct. That's right. So you saw my model of the universe with the pyramid or the octahedron in the middle, and that kind of everything just kind of clicked, I guess, when you saw that.
Yes, when I saw that, when I saw the octahedron, as call it, it represented to me the Yultron, which has a lot to do with anti-gravity. Now, the Yultron is basically the same thing as the octahedron. It is a cone on a cone. Now, if you were to look at that at a distance, it would look like a pyramid on a pyramid. And if you were to look at it from the side, it would look like a square. If you were to look at it from the top, it would look like a circle. If you were to look at it from far away, it would look like a diamond. So it represents every single shape there is geometrically. And it does have a lot of significance.
And I'm not sure if you studied up on Joe Parr with his research on pyramids, but he discovered that there's a spherical energy bubble that surrounds pyramids that rotate. He did a lot of experiments with rotating pyramids, and he found this ionized spherical bubble that surrounds the pyramids. And so within the heaven and the earth model that I have up there on the screen right now, you have the heaven, you have the celestial firmament. That's the initial bubble that's surrounding the pyramid. And then you have the glass sky. It's like a concentric sphere set, like a Russian doll set. And then you have the earth itself. And they are all formed. They're all stemming from the foundation. I call the pyramid in the center the foundations of the earth.
Oh, and that's a perfect analogy to use for that. I kept hearing you reiterate that. You keep calling it the foundation, the foundation, the foundation. Well, if people really were in depth and they watched a few of your videos, they wouldn't really have to believe it's a foundation or think it's a foundation. It is the foundation, plain and simple.
Oh yeah, as recorded in Job 38, it talks about describing making this pyramid. It's stretching the line upon it and casting measures upon it and setting a cornerstone. And then then it talks about the sons of God shouting for joy. It talks about the morning stars singing together. My theory on stars is that they're all very small and they're created by multi-bubble sonoluminescence, which is a product of the sound vibration that is going up in the middle of the earth, where you have all these stars are encased in this glass crystalline firmament. And there's actually, I had a vision of this. I told you about this earlier, where I was up on a raft in this celestial ocean, and I was looking through the firmament, and I saw the backside of the sun. Yes, the backside. It's not a ball of light. It actually has a back black, flat, dark side with these rays, these parallel rays of light that are shooting across the diameter. Even Eric Dollard talks about the sun being a transformer, taking energy from a different dimension. Well, if you understand the apex of that pyramid is the source of the light, and it's extending this conduit of light to the back of the sun. So the sun is indeed a transformer, which is transforming that energy, that light, and casting it upon the concave world and everything is revolving around. The sun is revolving around. The moon is revolving around. The stars are revolving around. The Earth is stationary. I mentioned before in my videos, I don't know if you had a chance to see this yet, but the sun, it's recorded in history over 3,400, 3,500 years ago that it actually stopped in the sky.
Yes.
And legends corroborate that, and it's mentioned in Joshua chapter 10. And that is how I foretell how the world decimation is going to happen again. It talks about the final day and the final hour. Well, that constitutes the sun. The sun is our timepiece of measurement. That's how we measure time. And so when that sun stops, again, if you understand this is just like one big energized battery, this pyramid in the middle, and magnetically or however it's powered, when it stops again, it's going to generate this disproportional amount of heat to one area of the glass sky, which has a sheet of ice that's adhered to it, and that all that ice is going to start crumbling and breaking and unraveling like a scroll, the Bible calls it, and falling to the earth, and decimation is happening. That's why I understand that's why the powers that be have been digging deep underground military bases for decades now.
That's why they mine oil. Why do you think Alberta here, we're mining all the oil out of the earth? What does that leave and replace? The giant cavernous areas that now you can do what you like with.
Mm-hmm.
That's why all the oil is being pumped out of the earth. Yeah, it runs in our cars, but we know we can power combustion engines from the hydrogen molecules that are in water. So we don't need oil, and for that matter, we shouldn't be using oil for vehicles or travel or anything. We shouldn't be burning oil, period.
Right.
And it's inefficient. It's toxic. It's not good. And but basically, they want this oil out of the earth because them areas are now vacant for whatever they choose to do, whether it's stockpile stuff or live there or build whatever they want. That's why they're pumping the oil out of the earth.
I see.
Because it's very simple. If you knew a better technology and a better ratio of combustion, you're not gonna be mining oil. What do you care about oil for? Hydrogen is 10 times more combustible than any other fuel on the planet, and it cuts through iron 10 times faster than any other fuel on the planet. So why would you be using oil when you have hydrogen? People say it's unstable. Well, you don't make hydrogen and store it. That's where the mistake is made. You make hydrogen on demand. You don't have to store it. It doesn't have to be liquid. It's a gaseous substance, comes from water, and you can make it on demand. You don't need to store it. It's not dangerous. It doesn't blow up, and educate. People need to educate themselves, and that's really all I can say to that matter. But with the oil's coming out of the earth, so that something can be put back in it.
And you're coming from a geologist perspective. I mean, you have a.
That's correct. Yes, it comes down to many things. Why would you want to leave these cavernous areas in the planet, and for that matter, create more sinkholes in the future? If there's any movement at all on top of the surface, it could generate a lot of vibrations, and we could have sinkholes everywhere. You have no idea how much oil they pull out of the earth here. And, whole cities could fall into these holes if they're not dealt with, if something is not there and replaced. Now, a lot of the times they say that they pump water back into it, or they pump some sort of chemical back into it to fill that void. Well, they don't. That's a lie. And they pump a little bit in to clog the hole. That's all they do. But them areas are gigantic, the size of cities, some countries, some, I don't know how big. But I'm here to tell you, they're not just being left unattended.
There you go.
I mean, it's very simple.
So what is your do you have any kind of I don't know, battle plan, any strategy? What is your plan for
To be honest with you, I think during the end times, I think our DNA is going to change significantly, and I don't think that's due to the traumatization. I don't think that's due to any reason other than the fact that it's being allowed to change. And I think people are going to be gifted. I think the abilities that people are going to have in the near future are going to supersede anything that we've seen in sci-fi movies or what people believe are possibly possible with you. I'm here to tell you, I know based on frequency and the things that I understand that mind manipulation of objects or matter or water or whatever for that matter is very achievable. And I think these gifts are going to be anointed to the certain people that are known and are going to be chosen because they are known to use them peacefully, respectfully, and to basically embrace integrity in all its work, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I guess I'm being selfish from a selfish point of view, how can you help me disseminate my message about the concave Earth, the glass sky, the decimation, the megacry meteors? What can you do?
Say that again.
How can you help me disseminate my message? I guess you're already helping me because I really want. I mean, I'm glad you're here on my show and you're talking about it. You're confirming what I've said, what I believe.
Well, whether or not we confirm it or we don't confirm it, or whether we have facts or we don't have facts, it is a truth whether you want to believe it or not. And just based on a couple of things that I've pointed on, you need glass for lightning to be present. Lightning is just going to... What do people think? You know, the atmosphere on the planet here doesn't just exist. And it doesn't float... Sorry, on the Earth. I apologize. On the Earth here. No,
in the Earth.
That's because I'm gonna be doing this with a lot of people. So basically, in the Earth here, okay.
Yeah.
If there was no glass sky, so the electrostatic potential that's generated by whatever, it doesn't really matter what it's generated by. It could be by people, it could be by cars, the atmosphere, the crust, the glass, the rays coming in from energies within the inner universe. It doesn't matter. That electrostatic potential would just drift around and wouldn't be used in any way if there was no catalyst.
There you go. Catalyst.
There has to be a catalyst. There has to be a catalyst.
Exactly.
Or it doesn't matter. Even if you believe there's an infinite universe out there and there's worlds and whatever. The
whole reason why they call it an ionosphere is because the ultraviolet rays are hitting the glass. When you hit the glass, it ionizes the rays.
That's right. And you can look at this with the aurora borealis.
The auroras, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't see no aurora if there wasn't any glass.
Correct.
It wouldn't be there.
That's correct. It's amazing.
You wouldn't see lightning. You wouldn't see lightning.
Yeah, I mean, and we have a height. We have a height to the glass too, because we have the top of the upper atmospheric lightning, the L's. It gives off this little plume. You know, it's kind of like when you touch a plasma ball. It gives off this little plume. It's at 100 kilometers. The Schumann resonance is at 100 kilometers. The bottom of auroras is at 100 kilometers. Okay, we have all this evidence. We have this height to the glass sky. We understand how it's in the concave Earth. It's been stretched there. There was a global deluge. I mean, there's so much evidence that there was a global deluge, and so all this evidence. I mean, like we talked about earlier. I mean, the easiest way to understand that there's a glass sky is the rainbow. Just looking at the rainbow in the skies. It's just a child could figure that out. And
that's right. And it's very simple. The rainbow in the sky. If you can't draw a correlation that way, then just a flashlight does the same thing through a window, like
yes.
you have. Yes. It does the same thing. It's a rainbow. It's just a very small rainbow. You can't see it. Now that aurora that's created in the window it's the same as the glass sky. When you have light shining through a glass, or it doesn't even have to be glass. It could be a plastic. It could be anything. It could be man-made. You still have that aurora.
That's right.
When light pierces a crystalline structure, even if it's an imitated crystalline structure, you will still have an aurora because that light is caught in that crystal.
There you go. Okay, so we agree upon. We got confirmation from you. Concave Earth, glass sky, ice attached to glass sky, sun moving within the Earth, Earth stationary. Sun has stopped before. Sun will probably stop again. Decimation will probably happen again. They have built deep underground tunnels. We need to prepare. We need to warn people. We need to help them realize this is reality. This is very serious from my point of view and from everybody else's point of view. They really need to know that decimation is going to happen. We need to start the new world. We need to build we need to seek first the kingdom of God. I give you a plan. I give you direction. I give you structure for that, how that needs to take place. And so if we seek first, if I can get your help, and I really appreciate your help,
through and through,
to help people realize this reality and to take me seriously, and not,
if people can find it in themselves, it's like when you're told something and you know it to be true. You know it to be true whether somebody says it's not true, or it doesn't really matter. You know it in your heart. You know something is there, whether it's told to you or not. So it's much like yourself. I've now come into some information that's helped me in completing my personal journey. Now I think that it is my job, my obligation, to help everybody understand the truth. And yes, they need to prepare. I've been saying this to everybody I know. I've been saying this to very, very, very influential people.
Yeah.
Not just my age, people that are older, younger, many different walks of life. And some of them, take me seriously, and a lot of them don't take me seriously. And you know what? That's fine, because what is going to happen is going to happen whether you believe it to happen or not.
That's right. I really just encourage you. You got a great speaking voice. You're intelligent. You know what you're saying. I would just encourage you to get out there and help me disseminate this to the masses so they can understand. And
well, I plan on it, and yeah, no, I thank you for opening my eyes. Because they were shut up until a day ago. And a lot of the things that I knew to be true, yeah, they're true, and they're facts, and they're very real. But the correlations that need to be drawn in this perspective need to be worldwide. Everybody needs to know this. Everybody needs to know this.
I wish there was more people like you, Jeremy. I'm really proud of you.
I say that because that's the first thing I said to you. I wish there were more people like you, and I wish it wouldn't have to take, I don't know how many years it's been now that I've been into the subjects I've been into, to finally find that intelligent person that can draw the correlations they need to draw and basically present them in a way that's undeniable. You can't deny it. You can't.
No.
If you want to, that's fine. You can do it. It's free will. You can do whatever you like. But you can't deny it to me. You can't deny it to the people of our understanding. And I'm telling you, the world's not going to be able to deny it soon enough.
That's totally correct. They're going to run out of time. I mean, they're going to have
They're going to be going to work. They're going to be doing their workout or their job. They're going to be going to the nightclubs or whatever they're doing. And then who knows? That could be the time of the end, or that could be the time of the most traumatic experience of their lives. But hey, they've disregarded everything they've heard, so they know better. So you know what I mean. It doesn't help anybody when you're ignorant. So
exactly. Well, we got the guest chatters are saying they're gonna be in my YouTube video. Yeah, I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, and we're gonna spread this around the internet and get some exposure.
I'm gonna make sure it's viral on my part. I can tell you that much. So
awesome. And this is just our first contact, our first discussion, and I do hope that there are more. And I really encourage you to make your own videos if you can, if you want to, or just however way in which you feel like you can convince the public that this stuff is reality.
I really want to touch base in a lot of higher walks of life, like the people that are really in positions that can corroborate this, and I'm going to make sure that they have a full understanding of things that they don't even understand, that they need to draw parallels, and I'm going to make sure that certain people in certain walks do have this information. They need this information. And I'm sorry, but you have said it the best. I can say it all I want, but
you're right. I commission you to do that.
Well, I hope it's okay. I'm going to be passing your links around, and I do hope everybody that's listening really, really educates themselves and do a lot of the videos that you have, and because the information that's on them videos, it doesn't matter whether you believe it's right or wrong. Just listen to how it's presented, and then draw your correlation afterwards. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Give it the light of day. And then just make your assumptions afterwards, or watch a few videos for that matter. Watch 3 or 4, and then make your assumptions, much like I did. I mean, I watched the first 5 minutes of the video, and I took I did a double take, and then I did a triple take, and I did a quadruple take, and for that matter, I should have just paid attention, and I'm glad that I did. And I'm here to tell you, it only took me a video to realize what I should have realized a long time ago. I mean, I looked at ancient maps, I looked at historical documents, and I misinterpreted them. And just from the last few days, all the research that I have, I can now make sense of.
Yes.
All the maps and scriptures, tablets, cave painting, you name it, you can make sense of it if you pay attention to these videos. I
think what a lot of people are. I mean, I have a Facebook Concave Earth Glass Sky Truth Group, and there's people here in my room, or people on that sub me on YouTube. They're looking for somebody like you, somebody intelligent, somebody that can confirm this, that can corroborate what I'm saying. Yes, this is true. Look at Jeremy. He's bold. He's agreeing with Steve. This stuff is true. Listen to him. And I think it's
entirely correct. it's wrong for people to think it's not correct, and it's not wrong to disagree. But when you put more effort into disagreeing than opening your mind to maybe get some more facts or get some more videos or get some more papers or whatever you have to do, then you're choosing evil. You're choosing to be evil, and that's not what we want here. We want people to be happy. We want them to be educated. We want them to understand the things that they should have understood, that their government that they so believe in should educate them with. People wouldn't feel so small if they knew that the universe is not infinite. Okay, energy may be infinite, but the universe is not infinite, and I'm sorry to say that, but so.
Correct. All right, we want to keep this interview to under an hour. I think we got everything we wanted to talk about initially, and
I appreciate you having me, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you calling me. Or I called you, but you gave me your phone number. So
I just want to tell the people here. What happened was I saw his video, and it wasn't till the next day that I had reviewed enough of the information that I was being presented with that I had to make a YouTube channel. I had to sign on right away. And I had to comment and say, can you please get in contact with me right away? And I didn't, get past judgment, negative or positive on the videos or anything else until I spoke with Steve himself. And I'm here to tell you, I'm glad that you called me, Steve. And I'm glad that I didn't seem intrusive for that matter. And you gave me the light of day, and I really do appreciate that. And I'm going to make sure everybody gives you the light of day.
Feeling is likewise. I mean, I just appreciate you. I appreciate your interest. I appreciate your zeal. I appreciate your intelligence. I appreciate your confirmation in just confirming what I've been talking about. And so, just want to say,
we can write papers on the subject, and we can try to make publications or videos or all you want. But I'm here to tell you, I'm going to do my best to put the walking time into it and the talking time into it, the video time, you name it. And people need to hear this knowledge. They need to be exposed to these correlations. And if they need questions answered, by all means ask them. Don't just shut the video off or call someone crazy or whatever you want to call them. Because you know what? If you know better, then let's hear it. You know what I mean? If somebody else knows, and I mean knows, if they're somehow in touch with God and they know exactly what's up, then I'd like to hear it, please. I really would.
Exactly.
But all the information that I've gathered over my lifetime. Now, I dedicate to this stuff very, very, very profusely. I do not give up until I understand whatever I'm researching on that given day until I've gotten the answers.
Okay, good.
I thank you very much, Steve, on what you've given me, and everybody really needs to follow.
All right, Jeremy. Thank you. I just want to say I love you, man. And
I love you too, buddy. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
And we will keep in touch, man. Okay. And you're free to register on my Vaughn Live page if you want, and I'll mod you, and we'll go from there. Okay.
I'll do so.
All right, buddy. You have a great night. Okay.
You too. Thanks again, and thanks again for calling NASA, buddy. You hit it on the head of the nail there. You did a really good job.
I had to.
Well, it's like you got to do your due diligence, just like that man did. Take a page out of Steve's book. Everybody needs to take a page out of Steve's book, and I mean that through and through. You really do.
Thank you, man. All right, buddy.
Problem. Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Jeremy LeBlanc, ladies and gentlemen. That's great. That's awesome. I gotta upload this to YouTube now. So